Mr. Price in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Sir, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Tom. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I hope you are too.
I've listened to you for years, sir. I actually called in several years ago. First, I want to thank you and understand, Tom, that America, black and white, rich and poor, are very proud. We're very proud and thankful of your heart and your intellect. That's number one.
Thank you, sir.
Number two, I want you to write this down. Go to a site called Bigots with Badges. That will give you some insight from one perspective.
Bigots with Badges?
Bigots with Badges.
.com or .org?
.com. He's a former federal agent, and he'll give you a lot of insight. I used to work with him.
Okay.
Thirdly, I want to tell you that I'm so disappointed because there's so many black organizations all over this country that are created and have been in place over a number of years of former police officers, former federal agents who speak out against this kind of stuff, but their voices are suppressed in mainstream media. Now, now I want to tell you a little bit, and then I'm going to get to my main point. I want to tell you a little bit of who you're talking to, because I don't want you to think that I'm just John Q. Leroy or Bubba, okay?
Sure.
I'm a former, I spent 10 years in the military, 82nd Airborne, Special Operations. I became a state police officer for 10 years. Then I moved to the federal level, and I was in 3 different federal organizations on one SWAT team, and finally the last 10 years of my life in my federal capacity, I was totally undercover working organized crimes, whether it was financials, drugs, guns, you name it.
Wow.
Okay? Now, here's my critique. I want you to understand that if the Department of Justice, they won't do this because Congress will probably not fund it. But if they set up teams of maybe 10 agents per team and put them in various districts around this country, specifically to deal with corrupt police officers, because what you and your audience must understand, most of these larger police departments have what is called internal affairs, but you never hear about them arresting or having an officer maybe once in every blue moon. Why? Because they're made up of the same they get promoted, they're made up of the same officers who are on patrol, and they have the same mindset. So that's why you don't see it. So if the Department of Justice were to set up teams around this country, because trust me, I know how to conduct a sophisticated investigation. Yeah. And I could go to any city, or I won't say be absolute, but I will say at least 95% of these police departments, I don't care if it's in rural Tupelo, Mississippi, or New York City, and I could right off the top get rid of at least 20%. Now, that may be high for some people, but I'm telling you from my experience, and I've been all over this country, I could get rid of at least 20% of the police officers in these police departments as a result of my investigation of that individual and their actions and so forth. But the Justice Department, the president, or Congress will not allow that to happen because they know that if you put in some sophisticated agents who had the right mindset, I'm not talking about somebody going out here pulling their gun on police officers. No, a sophisticated investigation. You would get rid of many people wouldn't believe how many of these police officers, especially in places like South Carolina, New Jersey, Texas, Florida, these places, you would not believe the experiences that I've had as both a state officer as well as more so as a federal agent.
I have a theory I wanted to run by you. You're the perfect person to run this by, if I may. You got a second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sometimes when you're watching TV and you see somebody on, and unfortunately I just got a 1-minute cue, so it's going to be quick. You see somebody being interviewed on TV as an expert or whatever. They're not paid by and large, but they are paid by virtue of being on TV. In other words, there's something in it for them. It appears, my experience when I went through the Georgia Police Academy and knowing some police officers is that for some of these people, they're paid with money, but they're not really paid well enough. So they're paid with the ability to have the power of life and death, which is almost like an intoxicating drug. It's a form of payment. What do you think of that?
That these people that appear on TV who are actually still on a police department or a federal agency?
Well, no, I'm just talking about, what I'm saying is that there are some cops who are police officers, not because it's a job, but because they get high on having power.
You wouldn't, Tom, hear me, please, and your audience. You would not believe the locker room chatter, as it's called. In these locker rooms, in these police departments, you would think, how did these people get to be police officers?
Yeah.
I'll give you one.
Yeah, Mr. Price, I'm sorry we can't, but we're out of time. I hope you call back again later in the week or next week. Thank you, Mr. Price.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.